is your Classic Metal Show right here on the ClassicMetalShow.com. That was the Revolution Saints, one of the better numbers, not the fastest number. In fact, it's quite the slow number, but it's one of my favorites. That one is Closer. That's from the new release, Rise. And on the line right now, rising up finally into the microphones of the Classic Metal Show is the drummer, the vocalist, and my fast-becoming good friend, Mr. Deen Castronovo. Deen, how are you, man?
Brother, I am great, Chris. Thank God you found me. Thank God I found you. You know, I guess you've been trying to get a hold of me for a while, and I was just perusing through, you know, because I subscribe to you guys on YouTube. And
right.
I saw the interview, and I was instantly humbled, but then I was like, okay, how do I find these guys? So I go down to the bottom. Okay, comments are disabled. Okay, all right, I got to figure this out. So I had my buddy, Joey Tafoya, who's a real close friend of mine. I said, dude, can you find these guys? Because I want to be on the show.
Right.
And instantly, I think it took him like 5-10 minutes. I found the guy. We instantly got hooked up, and I'm so excited to do this, man. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah. Well, dude, I'm the one that sits in the audience. You're the one that's on stage. I'm the one that's supposed to be excited.
Well, dude, that's the beauty of it. I've been, checking out you guys for a while, and as we were just talking, I like the fact that you guys keep it real, and there's no, we got to be PC and we got to make sure we don't offend anybody. You guys just do what you do. And that's refreshing, especially nowadays.
Oh, no kidding, man. It's such a dangerous time these days, man, for most people. Most people have to watch everything they say and watch everything they do. Yep. I can't imagine for a guy like you that's involved in several musical projects and just projects that are dealt with, that are received by the mass public. It's got to be a tightrope of some sort for you to walk through that and never, you can't really give a full opinion unless you want to ostracize half your audience because everybody likes to quit everything now. Is that tough for you?
Well, there's nothing you can do about it. You have to be, I don't want to offend anybody. I'm just one of those guys. When I learned in treatment was I'm a people pleaser. I don't want to offend anybody. I don't want to make anybody sad or piss them off or anything like that. So, you got to mind your P's and Q's now, especially now. Mm-hmm. And, I just, I try to keep it as real as you guys do. Just freaking speak your heart. And if people get offended, it's like, well, dang, I didn't mean to, but, that's where you got to be ultra careful now because you'll alienate half your audience.
Sure. There's no question about that, man. But, Well, Deen, for you, musically for you, you are in the Jeff Scott Soto Hall of Busyness fame, I think, these days, man. You are
I try, dude. I
always
try to keep myself busy.
You are so busy. Well, I'm going to start with Revolution Saints only because that's the most current release that I have here. The new one is called Rise. It really. And this is just an assessment on my part, I felt like the first two records were kind of the same. I feel like you guys grew very, very much with this record. It feels a lot different. You guys definitely tried some different things on this one. So talk a little bit about this one. Do you feel like it's more of a growth or a mature band, or did it just come out well? Or because it does feel different.
You know what? Yeah, for me, dude, I think it was like the first record. It was so fresh and so exciting. There was no limits. It was just like, especially my drumming. I played so much. I was so busy. Doing all riffs and just tearing it up. I'm thinking, well, maybe that probably wasn't the greatest thing to do on the first record. It was just hammer everything with a bunch of drum chops. But the second one was really kind of autobiographical. I had to spill my guts. I had to, purge some crap, Sure. And so it was a darker record. Definitely was darker. And I don't know if it was received as well. But this one is like, okay, the stuff's been purged. Things are going good now. And, I think it was just for us, let's just go in and do what we do and have fun. Let's just, see what we can come up with. And I know Jack wrote a few songs on the record. Doug, I think, wrote a few. But, most of the stuff, again, was handled by Alessandro Del Vecchio, right. And which is all fine and good. Great. He writes great stuff. So I think we just went in with a fire. We knew it was like, okay, this is the third one. It may be the last one. We don't know. Okay. It depends on how this one's received. But, there was no limits again. It was just like, let's just go do this. And we had a fire burning under our butts. We wanted to do something that was really, really special this time. And because if it is our swan song, if it's our last baby, we wanted to go out with a bang. So,
right.
There you go.
No question. Well, dude, is it difficult? And I'm making this assessment based on all three of you guys, not just you. But I assume that it's probably difficult when you have main projects and you have something like this that you absolutely sound like you love doing, is it difficult to, assess where you put your time? I mean, I know you got to make your living, you got to get your bread buttered, but at the same time you do a passion project like this and it grows into something. Is that almost a frustration thing that the passion project doesn't become the main project?
I think sometimes, for us, I think for Revolution Saints, the biggest thing is we can't tour. I mean, Doug and I are locked in good with the Daisies. I mean, that's our baby,
right,
and that's our priority. And once I joined, I was like, you know what? I'm putting all my eggs into this basket because I enjoy the band. I enjoy the music, and I like the guys. That's a big part of it. With Revolution Saints, man, we love each other. We love doing this, but God, man, Jack can't leave Night Ranger. That's his baby.
Right.
I mean, for us to say, you know what, dude, quit Night Ranger and come out on the road and we'll do some sweaty dive bars and we'll go have a great time. He's like, yeah, I'm 60-something. I don't think I want to do that.
Right.
I don't blame him. So that's the only bummer I think about this is we'd love to do shows, but we really can't. And so now Doug and I are just focused on Dead Daisies, man. We just finished that record and it's killer. It's killer.
Right.
So, we're going to be touring that all next year. So I doubt if we'll ever do anything live. We did one show and it was so much fun. It was like, God, I wish we could do more, but this schedules, man, just can't.
Right.
We can't make it work.
I get it. Well, since you brought up Dead Daisies, let's talk about that. I mean, you as a listener to the show know that Neely and I both kind of lukewarm on the decision with John Corabi. And, and I'm not, and I say this being probably the biggest Glenn Hughes fan on the planet. I love all his blues stuff. Obviously the Deep Purple stuff. I mean, I'm a big Glenn Hughes fan. Just saw him a year ago when he was doing the Deep Purple, touring. So I am a huge fan of him. And at the same time, I'm a fan of Corabi to the level that I wrote a book about his Motley Crue record. And I mean, it's very. The point that we made, and I'm curious what your take is on this, is in 2020, it is so incredibly hard to be a new band that gets some traction. And it seemed like the Dead Daisies had a lot of traction going from the time Corabi joined the band to all of a sudden shift directions. And I'm curious what you thought as a band member. Not necessarily. I mean, obviously, Glenn Hughes can sing and is a great vocalist and probably writes great music with you. But it's awful hard to do that David Lee Roth to Van Hagar shift and be successful. Is that something you guys actively thought about when it happened?
Well, I know we all did because the first thing me and Doug and I and David were thinking about is like, okay, man, there's going to be a lot of our fan base gone right there because John is such a charismatic performer and what a voice, man. I mean, to me, and I'm probably going to get hell for this, but that was the greatest Motley Crue record they ever did was with Corabi.
Absolutely.
That's my opinion. I'm a Motley Crue fan, so it was like, oh, man, they killed on that. Mm-hmm. So for John to decide to go and do other things, man, understandable. He just turns, I think he's 59 now, and he's like, you know what? I want to do what I want to do now. And I'll tell you, being in the Daisies is no easy task. I mean, you work your tail off. You work like you're a band starting out. I mean, and we're in our 50s and 60s, so it's like it's difficult. So I think John was like, I've spent half of my life busting my butt. I want to do what I want to do. I want to kind of roll on my own. And you know what? God bless him. But I miss him, dude. I miss him dearly. He and I hit it off instantly. I just love him like a brother, man.
Sure.
I mean, just he was the one. He and Doug were. They brought me in with Marco, and yeah, I miss him, man. It was definitely something we all really were like, okay, is this going to work? Mm-hmm. And this could bite us in the ass. This could bite us hard, you know? Mm-hmm. But of course, that's not our decision. This is David Lowy and David Edwards' band. So they make the decisions and we roll with it. And, we were thinking, okay, let's see what this is going to be like. I mean, obviously Glenn Hughes, come on. Yeah. Like you said, he's freaking iconic. Mm-hmm. He don't suck. So it was like, okay, he's got some big shoes to fill, but you know what? He's going to be able to fill them. I'm sure he'll do great.
Sure.
And once we got in the studio and started writing this stuff, it was pretty evident he was going to fit right in. And boy, what a voice, dude. My God. Now, see, that's the funny thing. I know him more as a vocalist than I did a bass player. Mm-hmm. And once we got in the studio, dude, and the way he attacks a bass, he plays like a drummer. He's really percussive. So for me and him, he and I, man, we locked like a hand in a glove. Right. It's just, it was effortless. So that, you got the iconic voice. Here he is. He's in his late 60s, and he sounds as good, if not better, than he did back in the Purple days.
Yeah.
But his bass playing, dude, oh my God, it's like the biggest pocket in the world. So, once we got in there and we started writing the stuff, it was pretty evident. Okay, we got something special here. And let's do the best we can with this and take it to the next level if we can.
No doubt. Now, it's funny you say you thought of him as a vocalist and not a bassist. Sounds like a drummer guy that I know of that I think of as a drummer, not a vocalist.
Dude, I know. I never got a chance to be a singer. I was always what Herbie Herbert called me the secret weapon in Journey. I was the secret weapon. So if anybody went down or anybody had a hard night, well, Dean could pull off a few songs to give them a rest or, to give some time for the people to go get a hot dog and a beer, while I'm singing. But, it was something I always loved doing, but I knew it's like, well, my place is to play drums. I'm a drummer that happens to sing. That's kind of the way I see it. Drumming that's where I'm the most comfortable. So, for me, I'm still learning how to be a singer, dude. I mean, it's brand new for me. I've only been singing lead really for 5 years, 6 years. So, put me behind the drum set. Oh, that's my element all day long, man. I can do tracks in one take. I can nail those things. But vocally, I try to learn, man. I'm still learning. Okay, what if I tried this? Or is this working right? Or, do I got the right soul on this? Do I got the right, it's really, for me, it's scary. Because, there's so many great singers out there. And, I want to be good. I don't want to suck. So I'm a big set of ears, man. And I learn and listen and grow from everyone. Anybody that has suggestions, man, tell me. I'm still learning. Show me. Show me what you hear, And that's a huge thing. That for me, that's the biggest part of it.
Dude, I'd imagine anybody whose voice is compared as with such regularity to Steve Perry understands that he doesn't suck. I mean, that's like the most iconic voice ever.
Oh, I know, dude. He was my biggest influence, bro. And I know, a lot of people, oh yeah, he's just riding the karaoke Perry bandwagon. It's like, I can't help but sound like my influences.
Right.
I play drums a lot like Bozio and Smith and Neil Peart. Those are my influences. I'm a hybrid of all of those.
Sure.
I can't help but sing like him because he was my favorite. Just like Steve Perry can't help but sound like Sam Cooke. That was his biggest influence, and you can hear it. It's so damned evident. But he doesn't get crucified for that. I get crucified for it's just a natural thing. Being in that band 17 years, you start to sound like them. You start to, be very similar because that's what you do for a living every night.
No question. And it's just so, I don't think I noticed. I've seen you perform a few times with Journey. And I've obviously heard you sing Faithfully a couple times and Mother, Father and stuff. And you nail it. There's no question you nail it. I would argue that you nail it maybe even better than Arnell does, and he's a great talent all by himself. But
I know, dude, he's a monster. But thank you. I appreciate that, man.
But now here's the question though. You say you only started, as a lead singer like within the last 5 years. Did you know like 35 years ago that you had this voice, or were you just the guy that they didn't even put a microphone in front of and you just played drums?
That was it, basically. I did. I knew I could sing backgrounds, but again, I was scared to death. Nobody asked me to sing lead, and I wasn't going to push the envelope and say, "Yeah, guys, give me a shot." No, that wasn't my thing. So for me, man, it's something I've actually began to explore once Revolution Saints came about. I mean, I was singing, like I said, a few songs lead with Journey, and it seemed to be going over good. So when I was approached to do this Revolution Saints thing, I was like, "Yeah, I'd love to give this a shot." And boy, now when I listen back to the first two records, even the third one, I nitpick it. I'm just that way. It's like, oh, that sucks. Oh God, I hate that line. Oh my God, I could have done better on that. Oh, that sucks. So I try not to listen to them. So I'm still learning, man. It's all a growth process for me. I'm more than happy.
Right.
More than happy to just play drums and be a background singer, man. Yeah. The lead singer thing is great, but again, I'm a drummer.
Sure. And I know you heard us say this on the show last week. It just seems like if you would have known that you had that voice when Perry first left Journey, 86, 87, in that time, you'd be rolling around in $100 million because there was such. I mean, think about it, man. There was such a void.
I think if they would have asked me back then, Chris, I wouldn't have done it. Like, no, that's not my no. I mean, it's a scary job, number one, but it's even scarier to try to sing that catalog.
Oh yeah.
With from a man that to me nobody really touches, bro. I mean, the way he sings, if people really sit down and listen to him, it's not just that he's in tune and he's got a cool high voice. The way that he sings, he's like a horn player, bro. I mean, really, the way it's mind-boggling to hear the control that man has.
Oh, yeah.
And the way that he can, it's freaking unreal. People don't hear that. The typical fan doesn't hear that. But musicians go, my God, listen how he transitions from this hard, wailing high thing to a falsetto that's so clean and crisp and is able to breathe that. That is freaking intense.
Oh, yeah.
So for me to listen back, it's like, now I'm listening back like I did back in the day. I would listen to him and go, my God, how do you do that? So I'm still learning how to do that kind of stuff. It's still brand new for me.
Well, the thing about Perry was always, and I saw Perry play easily 15 times. I'm a huge fan. So
and I both.
he was so fluid. Like it never looked like an effort. And I'll make the comparison because I have literally watched and waited, and you guys never brought it to Cleveland, that Journey Through Time thing. And I've watched every single clip that there is of that because that is the journey I would like to see because I'm an old school fan. And but you do the one song that's just you and Neil when you do the medley of Stay a While and Patiently and Trial by Fire. And you're note perfect on it, but I can tell I could tell watching it you really have to push, especially to hit those those notes on those songs, especially on Patiently, which is such a high number.
That was something that we weren't going to do that. We really weren't going to do that. Then Neil, before the show, said, what do you think we just do those songs acoustically real fast? I'm like, God, well, wait, can you, I don't know the lyrics all the way through the Trial by Fire. Can I write some notes and put it on a music stand? Because I don't know them all the way. So that was really, we decided to do that the night before we played.
Sure.
And it was like, man, I didn't know because that's laid bare, dude. You got an acoustic guitar and your voice, and you better not suck. So it was scary, dude. I mean, scary. Put me in the front is scary enough. But to get me to sing those songs and try to be, as good as I can be, because you know how fans are, man. You've seen the comments. If you're not spot on, they have no problem with telling you suck. They don't have any problem. And, it's hard for me to, I try my best.
Sure.
Nobody's going to ever be as close as Steve. I don't care who you are.
Right.
With the exception of Steve himself. So I try to do them justice, as best I can. But, that's not fun.
I'd imagine it's difficult, but dude, I'm curious, you obviously still have a very good relationship with Neil Schon. And, certainly when you were at your darkest point, when you were, getting clean and even before you were getting clean, when you were having your problems with the domestic stuff and the drug use and stuff, I'm just going to give you the outside perception, and you can tell me where I'm 100% wrong. But it really looked from the outside, just as a fan, like Journey abandoned you when they should have, helped you. And it does seem like Neil did stand up and come back and bring you back to the fold. But that is really how it looked. Was that the way it was, or not at all?
Well, dude, yes and no.
Okay.
They had to. They had given me chance after chance. My thing was I didn't use on the road as much as everybody thinks. Like I was out partying and blazing because I wanted to be great every night. My problem became when I got home and then we had made all that money and there were 6 months off the road with no accountability, really. I mean, I was just like, hey, let's party. And dude, they had given me tons of chances and this one was enough. I definitely crossed the line. And they had to, bro. They had to let me go. And no, I didn't hear from those guys, through my stint in treatment or any of that stuff. They just let it go. And that they had to, bro. I get it, and no offense here. I mean, Jesus, I brought it upon myself. It wasn't like they were handing it to me, So, I understand. But, John gave me a chance, to play on his Christian record when I think it was like maybe 4 or 5 months 4 or 5 months after treatment.
Sure.
I'd been in there for 90 days. So, he gave me a chance to play on his Christian record, and I did that. And then Neil, gave me a shot with Journey Through Time. So, I owe them a lot, dude. There's no resentment there, or, and they didn't abandon me. They knew they had to walk away.
It was just,
and I get it, dude.
It was just more business than personal.
Sure, dude. And after 17 years, I started thinking, well, God, these guys are my family, man.
Yeah.
why aren't they calling me? And I realized, you know what, dude? That's why they call it the music business.
Yeah.
And it's not the music family. So, it was a hard lesson to learn, but I've realized that now. It's like, look, I'm here to do a job.
Right.
And I'm here to do the job the best that I can. And that's it. And, I love all those guys. I wish them the best, man. God bless them. They're doing great. They're killing it. And, I'm happy where I'm at. I love being in the Daisies, and just love doing my thing, man. I'm just great. Put it this way, Chris. I'm grateful to even be playing again.
Right.
I never thought I'd play again after that. I mean, and thank God my wife, Dee Dee, at the time, man, I mean, she fought for me, man, because she knew. She kept telling the DA, look, this is not him. This is him on drugs.
Right.
We've known each other, dude. She was 14. I was 19 when we first met and started hanging out, all of us. We live in the same town, very small town. So she knew me. She knew that I wasn't like that. It's just, you give me drugs, I'm going to be a freaking animal. Bottom line, and 24 days on meth, I don't know who you are, or you know what I'm saying? You're going to be different. So, I'm just grateful. I'm so grateful that she stood by me. She never kicked me to the curb because she told them, it's like, look, this is not the man that I fell in love with. I know who the real man is.
Sure.
You guys don't know him. So, she stuck by me, and I owe her my life, man. And we're still together to this day.
Very cool, man. Well, dude, I'm gonna give you a story, and then I want to see if you think that this is the same way for you. Different scenario, but I was in a really, really nasty industrial accident 25 years ago. I was working at a steel mill. Furnace blew up, and I got burned like 69%, 52%, third degree.
Oh God!
I mean, real accident. Like they had to reattach tendons. I had to relearn to use my hands, relearn to walk, all the shit. And and when I went through it, I was like, I was just hopeful to ever do anything again. I was hopeful to get back to some semblance of normal, to go out to a concert or to be able to work a job or whatever. I was just hopeful to do anything. And I now look at it 25 years later as, in a strange way, as one of the best things that ever happened to me in my life. I built 2 businesses. I wrote 6 books. Obviously I do the classic metal show, which is pretty darn popular right now. I look at it
damn
now
popular.
I just look at the whole accident as, sometimes you need a really, really, really hard negative kick in the ass to push you to find where your greatness might lie. Now, I look at Deen Castronovo and I see had a horrible time, that was both publicly and professionally hard, awful. Publicly being fired from one of the biggest touring bands in the world can't be cool. That has to suck.
No, that kind of sucks, bro.
Yeah, I'm sure. But then
you know what, Chris?
But you've rebounded with.
I hear exactly.
Yeah, and you've rebounded with 3-4 bands, and you're making more music than you ever did before, and now you're finding this gift with your voice, and it's like my God, maybe this is the way a lot of us. We just need a harder kick in the ass to straighten up.
Oh, dude, for me it was. I mean, damn, how do I put it? It's as horrible as it was, and it was horrible for not just me, man, for Dee Dee, for my wife, for my family, my kids, and as horrible as it was. And people will think you're crazy. Oh, that's freaking BS. No, I'm grateful that it happened, bro. I am grateful because I'm alive today. I mean, before I got arrested, dude, I was 160 pounds, emaciated, hallucinating beyond measure because I think I only slept 6 days out of those 24 days. I was seeing stuff. I mean, it was horrible, bro.
Sure.
And all I kept telling Dee Dee was, God damn it, get me into treatment. I'm going to die. Get me into treatment. Get me some help.
Right.
And there was nothing she could do. She called my family. They wouldn't touch me. They would say, oh, we'll pray for him. Those are my Christian brothers. My little family, like, yeah, we'll pray for him. It's like, no, he doesn't need prayer. He needs somebody to knock him on his ass and wake him up because he's dying. And, as horrible as it was, man, I owe her a lot, bro. You don't even know. I love her beyond anything because she did. She didn't want to do it. She had no choice. It was like, if I don't get him some sort of help or somebody to knock him on his butt, I'm going to come home from Mexico and he's going to be dead. Yeah. And it was that bad, bro. It was freaking horrible. But I look back today and go, man, thank God. I mean, I lost a big gig. Yeah, I lost a lot of respect in the community and the industry and stuff like that. But you know what? What I did not lose was my life.
Right, exactly.
And I can live to tell about it, bro. I'm a walking example of how God can pull somebody out from below hitting bottom. Dude, I was below bottom, clawing myself up to bottom and then digging out. And dude, no, as horrible as it was, and I still live with the guilt, bro. I don't care what anybody says, you let it go. BS. I live with the guilt of what I've done to my girl every freaking day. And, you still get comments of people saying the things they say. It's just like, man, what the hell more can I do?
Right.
I got clean and sober. She and I are doing well, and I'm clawing my way back, and I'm a living example that you can do this if you want it bad enough. But I think it did, bro. I needed to be knocked on my keister, or I would be dead. It needed to happen. As horrible as it was, it needed to happen.
Right. And as far as people saying anything, that's the whole problem with the whole stupid social media network of today is that, it's easy to say, oh, that guy's a meth head, and just stick with that instead of seeing anything that you've done to fix it. It's like, all right, we get it. Move on. You know?
Well, people don't want to know about the good stuff, dude.
No.
It's more fun to talk about the bad,
Yeah.
isn't it? Doesn't that sell ads on radio or television? Man, let's listen to the guy's dirty laundry. Let's hear about the dirt, and forget, he got better. Well, let's not talk about that. Nobody gives a crap about that.
Yeah, I know.
It's kind of a bummer, but that's the world we live in.
It is.
And I'm not a big fan of social media as it is. I'm not a big fan of it.
Yeah.
I mean, put it this way. If it wasn't something that is part of my contract with the Daisies to keep up those social media pages, I wouldn't be on it, bro. I don't like it. It's so unpersonable. And I love the people and my fans, the people that I do talk to and interact with on there. I love that part of it. But it can be really negative. And again, in this PC world, dude, I'd rather not just stay away from that, but I can't.
Yeah.
It's part of the music industry these days. And you got to do it.
Dude, you and me are in the same exact boat. I literally at Christmas time closed my personal Twitter. And I have to keep, same reason, I have to keep Facebook because they make you have a personal page, but I don't use it. Yep. I have business pages for my companies and for the show and whatnot. But as far as social media is it's just a sewer. I hate to be that blunt, but that's what it is. It's like you can't, when it came out, it was such a good idea. It was such a, God, we can reach, I can do for a guy like you, I can do a project like Revolution Saints, and I can reach the 100,000 people in a single click and say, hey, check out this new song that I'm doing with Jack Blades and with Doug Aldridge, and how cool is this? Yeah. That was great. Yeah. Now but now what happens now is you put that exact post out, it's like, well, Night Ranger blows, and I hated when you were in Journey, and screw the Dead Daisies. It's
negative,
awful.
And I'm not a big fan of the negativity, man. I've been through enough negative in my life now. I've had enough of it, and and you still get it here and there, and you just I try my best to pass over it, but then I find myself not making excuses, but going, look, I'm doing the best I can, and then I got people going back going, why are you explaining it to some troll that you're doing well? Screw him. If you don't want to know, you don't want to know. He's still going to attack you. Yep. So it's like, let's put it this way. The new Revolution Saints video came out. People, oh, man, look at his hair. He looks like a mad scientist. He must be on drugs again.
Oh,
he looks like a junkie. I'm like, you know what? I tried to grow it out. It did not work. I just chopped it all off again 4 days ago, bro. Literally chopped it off because I didn't want to hear the negative comments about, well, God, he looks terrible. It's like, well, you know what? I'm 50 years old. It didn't grow out the way I thought it was going to, so now it's back to short. There you go. Yeah, it's that kind of stuff.
And the bigger question is, why are you worried about it? Who cares? Do you like the song? Do you not? It's it's music.
Yeah, I thought people would be more interested in the song. I didn't know that they would. Well, let's look at Deen's hair. Let's analyze it. One other guy said, boy, his eyes look really dark and sunken. That's called makeup.
Yeah.
Like, really, dude? I mean, come on.
I know. It's dude, we launched the CMS TV, the video component for the show I don't know, a year or so ago, whenever it was. And all I ever hear now is and I am not a drug use guy. I drink a little bit, drink a lot sometimes, but I do not embark in, or I don't take drugs. All I hear all the time is, look at his eyes. He's on speed. That's why he's so amped up, because he's speeding. It's like, what are you talking about?
It's funny, dude. Put it this way. I'm hyper as hell. Okay. Yeah. And people are like, oh man, he must be high. It's like, you should have seen me when I was on drugs. Because actually, meth and stuff like that, dude, would calm me down.
Oh,
it's
geez.
the weirdest. I'm one of those guys that's wired different, wired completely different. So, I mean, my wife one day, I was all hyper and I was goofing, and she looked at me, she rolled her eyes, and her family was there, and they're all laughing. I go, hey, you guys wanted me clean. This is what you wanted.
Awesome. Well, Dean, what are you working on now? Because I know you were recording somewhere or this weekend. Or what are you working on?
Well, I was actually down in Nashville hanging out with some buddies of mine, J.D. Marcus from Rascal Flatts and Jason Sheff, the singer for Chicago. And I've known Jason and Jay for years, but Jay I met at the when Journey did the Crossroads thing with Rascal Flatts. And he always said, dude, if I ever have some downtime and I need a drummer, I'm going to fly you in and you can record on some of my songs. And, dude, I'd love to. So, it comes to be at the end of the year and they're like, dude, what are you doing? I'll fly you down here. You want to record? I got about 8 demos. I want you to play drums on. I'm like, I'll be right there. So, I get down there and I play, and that's kind of what I've been doing just on my off time because I'm exclusively a Daisy. I don't do any more side projects. I'm basically, I got to stay exclusive with the Daisy. So things like this, country rock thing, it's no threat. So, it just gives me something to do, got to keep myself busy.
Right. So does that mean that the Journey Through Time is done?
No, if Journey Through Time ever does anything again, bro, it'll probably be, I would say 2021.
Okay.
And that's only, again, if the Daisies aren't busy and Journey isn't on the road.
Right.
But yeah, we had 20 dates lined up for last year, November and December. Mm-hmm. And the big Journey, the cash cow, called and told me, look, we've got some dates lined up in Atlantic City and Vegas for residency. So, which one do you want to do? And of course, Neil's not stupid. He's the big boys, and we totally agreed with that. We get it. So, I don't know. We might do it. You never know. But still, it's something that's on the back burner.
Right. Well, I could just tell you I wish that was the one thing I know, as a Journey fan and somebody that loves, nothing against any of it, but, we've all heard Escape to Now Journey. We've all heard those a million. If you're a Journey fan, you've seen it live. And to hear with such a clarity and such a well done representation of the pre-captured songs. What was just awesome. I've watched every video there is of it, and I hate that you didn't come anywhere that I knew of to travel to go see it, because I would have seen that one in a minute.
Well, I agree with you, bro. For me, I mean, that's what I cut my teeth on. The first time I ever sang lead was I was 11, and I was playing with guys that were 24 and 25, and they brought me Infinity and said, here, learn a few songs off of this. And so since I was so young and my voice was so high, I started singing lead doing those, and that's the stuff I grew up on. That's what got me into Journey was Infinity. When I heard that, I mean, after that, I was hooked. The first 3 records, I didn't really know. Right. So when I went back and we were going to do these Journey Through Time shows, I went back and revisited that stuff. I'm like, my God, they were so ahead of their time.
Right.
They really were. It was such a great bunch of musicians. So, I had the best of both worlds. I got to sing some of the Steve stuff, and I got to play Ainsley and Steve Smith's parts, which nothing to sneeze at, man. Right. Those guys are the greatest drummers ever. So very, very fortunate, dude. I love them.
No question, man. Well, dude, I'm assuming next is Dead Daisies. When is that coming? I haven't seen a release date or anything. Do you know when that's coming out, and is there touring?
I believe, dude, I could be wrong, but I think it's going to be either in March, I think, February or March, but don't quote me on that. But I know we start rehearsals in April, and we're out on the road, I think, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. We're gone.
Wow.
So on and off, we're in and out. I think we're going to, we're doing South America, the States, Europe, of course, UK, Japan, and Australia. We're hitting every place, man. Wow. We're going all over the place this year. So it's going to be a blast.
No question. Is that, I'm going to imagine that the crowds are going to be there, but is that somewhat of a worry because of the big shift in the band, that there might not be as many people as there were with the last run of the Daisies?
Well, that was a concern as well. But then you think, Glenn Hughes, being a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductee, and he's got quite a catalog. We're hoping that it takes us to the next level, to where actually we're doing better. Because I know he's big in Europe, dude. I don't know how he is in the States, but I know he's damn massive in Europe. So having him on board with us, it's not going to hurt. I think that we'll know probably within the first month if we, if the management made the right decision or not. But as far as musically and spiritually, yeah, but it's pretty damn killer.
Sure. And is it gonna be strictly Dead Daisies material, or will you do some Hughes stuff as well, or is it just Dead Daisies?
No, it's going to be Dead Daisies, and I'm sure, dude. How can we not play some Purple stuff?
Right.
I mean, how can you not?
Right.
He was in there, so I would imagine that we're going to do some of that stuff too. And I believe Glenn and I were talking, and management were talking about the stuff that John sang on and stuff. I'll be covering that stuff because what I love about Glenn and it's a really cool attitude he has towards you. Got look, if I hear a song and I don't feel it, like emotionally, he doesn't have emotional connection to it.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, why would I want to sing that?
Right.
Because I'm not going to fool the audience, and certainly I got to be true to me. So I'm going to be singing the stuff that he doesn't really think, this is not me, or this doesn't feel right. I don't believe this for himself. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to be singing lead on, I don't know, probably 4 or 5 songs, maybe more. I'm not sure yet.
Very
so
cool.
That'll be cool.
Sure. I don't know if you know Glenn well enough yet, but will the fact that Glenn has gone through the substance thing as well and is clean now, will that be a help for you on tour, that you have somebody literally on the bus, literally in the hotel that you could talk to if you have any kind of a harder time?
Oh yeah, dude. I mean, I had that with Marco and Doug and John as well, because John and Doug they drink a little bit. I mean, that's they're not alcoholics by any stretch. So they were always keeping an eye on making sure I was doing okay and stuff like that, because I had been off the road, almost 3 years before I joined that band. So it's always good to have somebody to bounce stuff off of, whatever it is. And I had Marco out there and Doug and John. Those were my guys, and yeah, it would be great to have Glenn, because Glenn's been through it just like I have. His drugs of choice were very similar to mine. So it's always good to have someone you can, bounce stuff off of, because it's not easy being on the road. As far as drugging and drinking, that's not as much of an issue as some of the emotional stuff, being away from home or just being on the road and being fatigued, that can cause you, that'll trigger you to do anything, it can. So that's good to have that kind of support system out there. All of those guys are real supportive.
No question, man. And dude, is there a more underrated guitarist in the world of guitar than Doug? I mean, my God, that guy can play.
Dude, he deserves. I'm surprised, bro, because he is, great songwriter. I mean, really is, and a monster shredder guitarist. Yeah. What I love the most about him is just the person that he is. He never let that whole, guitar shredder ego thing go to him, and he knows. Maybe he doesn't know, but he doesn't suck. He's a freaking monster, and I've played with all the biggest shredders on the planet, man. He's right up there. So, he's just a good, solid, humble guy, and I love him like a brother. But yeah, dude, I think so, man. A lot of people, he should be more known than he is. Oh, definitely.
Yeah, well, I mean, just the bands he's been in are bands where you're required to be, the elite of the elite with Whitesnake or Dio. And it's like,
yes,
and people don't know, it's such a weird thing with Doug. I think you hit on the reason he's not more well regarded by, just passing people, is because he is a humble guy. Yeah, he's a humble guy, and he's not an ass. That's really it.
Yeah. No, I think that he is. He's very humble, and I think he's great. But he said one thing in an interview that blew my mind. He goes, a lot of guitarists, it really comes natural to them. I have to work at it. I'm going, damn, if that's working at it, holy hell. Because you're on live, dude, and in the studio, he's just like, on your mark, it's go, and just blazes off solos, and he'll stop and go, you know what? I can do that better. Let me try this. He's always trying to better himself, and I love that. Not like, that's good solo, good enough, cool, let's go to the next one. He's so meticulous. He's like, you know what? I can smoke that one. Let me try it again. And he will. He'll spend an hour just, I like this better. Well, let's try this and this. I'll put these 2 parts together. I love that about him because he's so versatile. The guy can play anything.
No question.
He's a monster.
He is, man. Now, I got one more question, and this one is it's a question that I have had since 1985, and no one has ever, I don't think I've ever asked it, actually, because I've never really talked to too many people that have played with this guy. But I am of the opinion that the best guitarist that has been out there since 1985 is Neil Schon, and he's the most underutilized of all time. But he, in my opinion, after seeing him do the solo and blow all those metal guitar players away when they did that We're Stars thing in 85, 86, whatever.
I know,
that
dude.
guy can play, man. Is that, I mean, you've seen him in person. Is that, am I wrong in thinking that he might be the most, at least top 5 most talented guys out there?
Oh, dude, I played with a ton of guys, like I said, bro. He plays with such soul and such passion. And I've never seen a guy, like you said, you got all these shredder guys playing on Weird Stars, and he comes in, and it's like, on your mark, get set, smoke your asses. And that's what he did. He just killed it.
Yeah.
And I remember going back and going, that's you, bro? Because he admitted to me. I'm like, oh, geez, bro. That's another guy that can play anything. And you know the sad part is, because he was from a blues background, a blues-based background, he didn't fit in, quote-unquote, fit in with the shredders of the 80s. But as far as I'm concerned, man, I mean, all those chops and all that, great, fine, and good. Can you do anything with one note?
Right.
And that's me and Sean. Not only can I shred your head off, I can hit a note and just let it sing. For, give me 10 seconds, and I'll just let that thing sing. And that says more than the 1,000,000 30-second notes that the other guys have done.
No,
that is so special, bro. And he never got the accolades, bro. I got to say, because he was in Journey, he never got the accolades of, you know what? He's one of the greatest of the great. Yeah, in my opinion, I put him up there. So this is me. I put him up there with Clapton and guys like that because he's so soulful. Not one note doesn't mean something when Neil plays. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. And I think
every note.
I think you would have to be a little bit harder core of a fan to get it. You have to look past like Stone in Love and stuff like that. That was just kind of. Yes. I'll say it's more easy. I can't play guitar, but I'm assuming that that's easier than on the Captured record. There's the interplay between him and Steve on Walks Like a Lady, and it's like that's amazing. He's literally talking.
Yes. Nobody does that, dude. Nobody does that. And he has that thing. That's the thing that I loved about playing with Neil. And I miss playing with him. I've loved working with him. Sure. But he and it was almost like the brothers Van Halen. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I was like the little brother, and I would feed off of him. And he and I, we would look at each other, and we both get this look like, okay, here comes Neil. He would just look at me and start moving his head a certain way. And, dude, it was on. He was just – and we would trade off and play off each other, and it was wicked. It was wicked. We just had that sixth sense that, working with him, bro, I played with all the greatest in the world, man, in my opinion. Vi, all those guys.
Sure.
And he's probably my favorite just because he plays with such passion,
Right. No question, man. Well, Dean, we could do this all day, but it is Super Bowl Sunday, and we both got things to do. But there's a lot of Deen Castronovo that's out there. You can, if you look up his name, you'll find all kinds of stuff. Revolution Saints' new release is called Rise. Dead Daisies. I don't think they've announced the title yet, but it's coming soon. Gioli.
I think it's called Righteous Days, but I could be wrong, dude. Don't quote me. I think it's called Righteous Days,
okay, like
but
the single.
Don't know.
Right, like the single. Okay. But and then you've got the Gioli Castronovo release that's out there, and there's just lots of stuff so if you're a fan of Deen, also, and I tell everybody this, even more than any of these releases, and I know this doesn't do you any good financially, but go to YouTube and watch these Journey Through Time videos because they are amazing.
Oh, brother, thank you, Chris. Now you know what that means the world to me, man. Like I said, I did my best, did the best I could. And I hope people appreciated it. And if they didn't, I'm sorry. Right. I did my best.
No question. Well, Deen, as a tradition on the show, we always let the artist pick a closing track from something you've played on, since you have so many. Why don't you pick a track and maybe tell us a quick story about the song to wrap it up?
Okay. Well, I'm going to pick Social Distortion's "I Was Wrong."
All right.
That I played on that record. That was I did it as a favor to Michael Beinhorn, the producer. He produced Ozzy. With me, and I did that record in 3 days. I did like 14 tracks in 3 days, and I remember working with Mike Ness and Dennis and all those guys. And I was so proud of that record because I'd never played, that OC punk thing. You know what I mean? And it was like I fit right in. It was so much fun. So play that bad boy. That's a cool song. I think that was one of their bigger hits too. If you want to call anything Social D does hits. That I love the band. I always love the band. So play that bad boy. I love that one.
All right, very cool. Here it is. It's Social D right here on your Classic Metal Show.